Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite paranormal investigator here. My name is Tim Sedano. This is Paranormal Insight, and I can't talk right now. My guest today is Lynda Quirino. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And she is amazing. I'm going to let her tell a little bit about herself. I met her just before the show. You're going to love her. Here she is. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, there she is, Lynda Quirino. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. This is amazing. Gosh. And look at this. I'm like right up there. Oh my gosh.
You're up there, man.
Wow. Oh, scary. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing well, and we got Kat Ward in the chat. Kat's with us today.
Oh
Hey,
my
Kat,
gosh.
good to see you in the chat. So there is a delay in the internet today. I'm not sure what's happening. It's not only her end and my end, but somehow StreamYard is also severely delayed. So apologies up front for all that. But let's not waste any more time. Lynda, tell me about you. Let's start off with any personal. She's she's a striking sweetheart. That's what Kat just said.
Oh, yeah, that's so sweet. Oh, Cat. She's so sweet.
She's
So,
adorable. I love her.
I love her too. So you want to know about me? Oh my gosh. Well,
No, yeah, I'm going to give you the close up too.
oh my gosh. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Talk about scary. But honestly, it's hard when, you're kind of confronted with talking about yourself. But I guess the thing that I'm really kind of freaked out about is that I've been a paranormal investigator for 45 years. So that's a long time. Um, and I started when I was quite young in Montreal, which is where I was born and raised. And then after I got married in 1986, which is a long time ago, my husband was transferred to Toronto. And then of course, I moved to Toronto and then kept moving north and ended up in Georgina, which is a little over an hour north of Toronto. But I've continued investigating. I was with the Toronto Ghosts and Hauntings Research Society for about 7 years. And then I started the Georgina Paranormal Society, which I think it was in oh my gosh, I can't even remember, 2014 or no, 2012. So we've been around for a while. And I've just continued to investigate, had paranormal experiences all my life. And I think it's just a fascinating field. And I think nobody ever can be an expert, although I was an expert on Paranormal Survivor, which is still in reruns. I think it's global because I do have people that contact me
Yeah.
from the UK and stuff like that. But again, nobody can ever be an expert because this field, as you know, changes by the second. But yeah, but it's great. It's so much fun.
Yeah, you and I started roughly in the paranormal business about the same time. I founded Scary in
Oh,
2011. So,
wow. That's pretty cool.
yeah,
2011. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
that was a while back.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I've been around for a little while. And it always amazes me that, you know, I, the more you learn, the more you still have to learn in this field. Um,
That's very true.
yeah,
Kat had a funny little comment. She started in the womb. Her
probably,
paranormal life in the womb. That's pretty
probably,
funny.
probably.
Probably did. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about your history. You said you had your own experiences with that on the job. Was that prior to starting your paranormal investigation career?
I've had experiences my whole life. My first one was about age 4 at the family cottage, which was in the Laurentians, north
Oh,
of Montreal. We had a family cottage there, and when I was a little kid, I had my bedroom downstairs, and it was quite the nice little bedroom. My parents put me to sleep in there, and I used to see kind of faces come in and out of my vision, and they were kind of fun. They would make little faces at me, trying to make me laugh. I never thought them to be scary or anything else. I thought they were kind of fun. And I mentioned it to my parents at the time, and they never made fun of me or didn't, they never said, well, that's ridiculous or you're silly, or they never said anything like that.
Yeah.
They would ask me about them. But the weirdest thing is that they had funny hats. And I used to tell them that the hat was dented, and they kind of looked at me and didn't really say much. And then fast forward a few months after I told them, we were watching a cartoon, and it was Dudley Do-Right, the Canadian Mountie.
Sure.
And I pointed to the TV and I said, that's the hat that these people wear. And of course, what happened was they looked at each other, and they eventually told me that the cottage was built by my grandfather on top of an old Mountie station. So it made total sense.
I love it. I love it.
Total sense.
Big hello to Sherry, who just joined us in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Always good to have Sherry here.
Hey, Sherry.
And I thought I hid that, but I'll hide it again. So, okay, you were seeing the former Mounties. And was your granddad there? Were you able to pick up on him?
Well, at that time, my grandfather was still alive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he actually emigrated from Czechoslovakia way back when.
Gotcha.
And he was a carpenter. He built houses and furniture and stuff like that. So he built the family cottage, but he used the actual Mountie station, which was then made into the downstairs bedroom, and he built on top of that. So, yeah, so I was seeing all kinds of things coming in and out of my peripheral vision and right in front of me. And I never thought they were scary. I always thought they were fun. And I was very aware that they were aware of me. So these were sort of interactive kind of spirits.
So they weren't a loop. They weren't residuals. They were actual fully interactive spirits. That's great. I love that. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Big hello to Carrie joining the chat. Welcome, Carrie. And welcome to all of you watching. All of you watching should get in the chat so we can all say hi to each other. So that's your first experience. Was there anything past that outside of the cabin that happened to you?
Well, I've had a lot of things happen to me throughout my life. And of course, being a paranormal investigator as well. I believe that one of the most astounding things that happened to me was when I was a fledgling paranormal investigator, like we're talking 18 or something.
Okay.
I had gone to this lady's home, and it's in a place called Hudson in Quebec. So not too far away from Montreal, so closer to home. And she was a lovely elderly lady in a beautiful old home, and she had been having things happen. So she said, things are being moved and things are being thrown, and she was a little bit perturbed. So she had heard about me through word of mouth, because way back when, we didn't have this thing called the internet.
Yep.
So I meandered over there with a notebook and a flash cube kind of camera, because back then, right, we didn't have...
That's all you had, right?
Right.
Right.
And I interviewed her and made the fledgling mistake, of course, of going by myself, which you should never do.
Yeah.
But but it was really strange, because she kept saying things were moving, and in the back of my mind while I was interviewing her in her beautiful living room, I kept thinking, interesting. I wonder if anything's going to happen. I bet nothing's going to happen. Maybe she's crazy. Maybe things aren't happening here. And then, of course, the minute that I thought that, behind her was a gorgeous fireplace. And there was a huge, oh my gosh, a crystal ashtray at the top of the fireplace on the mantle. And the minute I thought that, it took off and flew at me.
Oh.
Went past my ear, landed, of course, I hit the wall behind me and dented it quite nicely.
Uh,
And I was absolutely terrified, surprised, and I guess just shocked all at the same time. But that's the big first thing that happened to me as an investigator.
okay. That's pretty impressive.
Right?
I like that. Big hello to Kiara. Kara. Oh my gosh, I'm a horrible person for not being able to read these names. Uh, welcome to the chat. I'm so glad you're here. Kiara. Okay, I got that right. She says hello to both of us. And okay, so I have something to relate that kind of relates to that.
Oh, good.
The let's see, it was my first investigation. It's not exactly the same thing. In fact, not at all, but it was still a great first. And I've told my audience this story before. Um, the first thing we ever investigated was a legend. So, in research, this was at a college. The legend comes out of a building that was relatively new. It was built in the late 70s compared to the rest of the estate on which the college is set, which was established as like a ranch way, way back in the 1800s. And so they built this new facility there, a theater. And the legend goes on the very first night, this young man was rebuked by his girlfriend. He proposed in front of everybody right after the show. May I have your attention, please? Gets on one knee, proposes, and she says no.
Oh, God.
And he gets up with as much masculinity as he can muster, and he's crying on the way out. And he disappears. No one knows where he is. And crowd finally disperses. There's a few hangers-on in the bar upstairs, and this kid suddenly is there, and he's kind of weepy. And back then, the balcony was open to the lobby, which led outside the, to where you enter through the lobby. Anyway, so he climbs up, head dives right off the balcony,
Oh.
and successfully kills himself.
Oh.
So goes the legend. Nothing in the police reports of the day, nothing in the newspapers of the day. I could not verify this at all. So we were examining whether or not legends had power, basically. And at the tail end of the night, I have these junior psychics, I call them, because they had their abilities, but they were still kind of figuring them out. Yeah. And one of them says into a voice recorder, and I have a camera on her. She has a voice recorder, and then there's a second camera over here, and we're all kind of focused on her, but only on the voice recorder. As she asks this question, do we hear a response? The question is, where are you right now? And the reply is in a whisper, and I wish I had it. I'd share it with you. I'm right next to you. And then he says her name. I'm right next to you, Farah. We caught that after the fact, obviously. But it was fantastic because it kind of confirmed a few different things. That that spot was particularly kind of lit up. Everyone said, oh, it was so uneasy around the entrance of this place. It was kind of cool. So we caught that on tape. I was so excited for the first time out. That was great.
Wow. So that was like your very first EVP.
Yeah, very first EVP. Would I call it a class 1 EVP? No, it's a little muddled. There was a fountain going off in the background, but you could definitely make out a voice and the words and everything. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. If I can find it, I'll play it for you later. But okay, so you have your experiences as a kid. And 18, you start your investigation career. Kudos to that. I didn't start until 2011. I'm 54 now. So do the math, kids. And there's a I'm just curious to know if there was ever a point in your career. Okay, well, actually, hold on. Before I ask that question, Heidi's here. Hi, Heidi. Heidi's in the chat with us. Heidi's our super fan. She loves us.
Yeah.
And so hello to Heidi. Heidi, yay. Everyone's going freaking out in the chat that she's here. So let me ask you this. You start your career at 18
Yeah.
by yourself. Good job. That's okay. Now, did you always go in by yourself after that, or did you just little sub question before I get to my main one? Were you going in by yourself for the few times after that, or did you learn your lesson?
Oh, I learned my lesson really quickly.
Okay.
Prior to actually going to this lady's house, most times I would meet people and we'd have coffee or whatever, and we would talk about their experiences outside of their location. So that's normally how it happened.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I would write down the things that were happening and write down their phone number, and we would talk to each other that way. Because back then, that's the way you did things. But this was the very first time that I actually went to someone's home. And, back then as well, we didn't have the shows, we didn't have guidelines on what you should take with you or shouldn't take with you or any of that. So it was just instinct that I should probably take a camera and I should probably take a pen and a paper to make some notes. And maybe I should take my tape recorder. Remember those?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, I should get those big D batteries and throw that in my tape recorder, and right. But I mean, I just went with the basics, and first time out, and something got thrown at me, and I thought, you know what? I should probably not do this by myself, because if something happens to me and something happens to the person, who else is going to call 911?
Right.
Right? So,
Exactly. And we just answered Kat's question. I just put it up there on the screen. When did Lynda realize she shouldn't investigate alone? Well, there you have it.
yeah.
It's good stuff. I was fortunate. I never went alone. We did have, I think it was just Ghost Hunters that was out there, and they were pretty good about giving tips, which is great.
Yeah.
So I followed those tips, and I've heard other so-called horror stories from other investigators who did solo, like
Oh,
exclusively, and man, some of them are. There was this one gal. There's a really famous haunted house here in San Jose. It's called the Hell House. It sells, and it's off the market for maybe 3 months, and then it doesn't sell for like 5 years, and then it's on the market. It's off the market again, but no one stays there, and
right.
they cannot just. Anyway, so reported in said house are full-bodied apparitions, smells of sulfur.
Oh,
Oh yeah, and there Mario's here. Woohoo! Sorry, welcome. And I will do that on occasion, just fair warning. And there were object manipulation. I mean, pretty much across the board. Name a paranormal thing, and it was happening there. And when I say full-bodied apparitions, I mean full-body, tangible. They look solid and will interact with you type of spirits, and not friendly. That's the other thing. None of the spirit activity there is friendly. It's designed or intention. The intention is to get the living out of there. That's their space. Anyway, an investigator goes in, and she's not really an investigator. She's a friend of someone's and she's a little bit in tune with that type of with the paranormal. And she says, check this house out. Let me know what you think. Now, no one knows about the Hell House legend, apparently, at this point. I did. If they asked me, I would have said, don't move in there. But anyway, so she goes in there. And she says, there's a tale I heard that someone left the Bible in here. And I'm here to get it. Oh, I'm sorry. What it was, someone left the Bible in a closet to kind of bless the place. And I'm here to pick it up and see what happened to the Bible, if anything. When she retrieves the Bible from this closet that they stuck it in, mind you, the house is absent of any furnishings. It's just bare rooms and closet space and stuff like that. Apparently, the Bible looked like it had aged at least 100 years out in the open.
That's weird.
That was messed up. And then they see someone she's with, I think she's with the realtor. So she retrieves the Bible, and then this old lady, haggard looking, and I mean, not to be rude, but I mean, old lady. She looks like she's at least 90.
Wow.
Waddles out of one of the back rooms. Mind you, there's no one in this house. It's not occupied at all. And kind of roars at them. Okay. I mean, it's inhuman the way she describes it.
Oh,
And they ran out of that house. They didn't even bother to lock the door. They got in their cars and they left. And apparently, that's the description of this entity is one that's been seen before, as later reports came forward.
ew.
Yeah.
Not nice.
No.
That is nice.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
But
it's pretty messed
like
up.
they see full-bodied apparitions
Full-bodied apparitions
that are
usually.
interactive. Like they're
Yeah, but they're there to scare you. They will throw things at you. I mean, that place is messed up. No one knows the history of what actually happened there, but they've seen the old lady before, as they put it.
oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, good times.
Good times. I don't know about that, Tim.
Good times for a paranormal investigator. I'll put it that way.
Oh my gosh.
Catching that evidence.
That's crazy. Wow.
That's pretty frightening, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's messed up. I mean, there are
Yeah.
places, though. There are places in the world that are pretty messed up. I
That's
mean,
one
really.
of them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Big hello to Hillbilly Herb. He's out here. Herb. It's Herb, not Herb. I keep messing that up, and I'm so sorry. I think. Never mind what I think. Anyway, so you learned your lesson.
I did.
I imparted my story about similar lessons learned, and thankfully that didn't happen to me. I'm very happy about that.
Good.
But
Good.
I'm very happy about that. But that's not to say I didn't have my own experiences. So when you get deeper into your paranormal investigation career,
Yes.
give me a highlight or two of what you've experienced prior to getting on to. Did you say you started out in television, or am I misremembering that?
You know what? Television started. I'm going to say about 2017. So I did 3 seasons of Paranormal Survivor.
Okay.
But prior to that, I've been a paranormal investigator. It seems like my whole life.
Right.
But I've had some pretty interesting experiences.
Okay.
I mean, way prior to Paranormal Survivor,
Okay.
on investigations, we've had some pretty weird things happen.
Give me a highlight or two.
Yeah, I mean, I actually did because we usually do, my team and I, we always do residentials mostly. We do sometimes do public locations and a couple of businesses, but normally residentials. And there was one residential that I did in Mount Albert, which if you are from the Toronto area, you'll know where it is. It's north of Toronto and north of a place called Newmarket. Beautiful old houses, a lot of Victorian homes and stuff. So there was this one lady who had been seeing this old lady upstairs and on her stairs. So of course we all went, and at the time we had very rudimentary things. So we had some video cameras going, and we had our tape recorders, and I don't believe we had digital digital voice recorders at the time. I think they were just tape recorders, but we did have some rudimentary things like video cameras. And at the time they were really kind of, very basic. So we asked the homeowner to please leave us there all night. So we arrived, it was like 7 at night. We set up whatever we were setting up, and we took our places. So some people were upstairs in the hall, and I was downstairs with this other girl. And we stayed there all night. I mean, eating chocolate covered coffee beans and trying to keep awake and all of that. And we were there the entire night,
Nice.
right? I mean, you can't not have the chocolate covered coffee beans. Come on.
We did. It was. We were trying to be health conscious, so we used a yogurt covered coffee
Oh,
beans, and it was basically the same thing. It was good stuff,
my God.
and
But no,
handfuls of them.
we were the same crunch, crunch, crunch,
Oh
trying
yeah,
not to taint any
try not to
evidence,
taint
right?
the exactly.
Right. Right. That was you, right? Yeah, that was me.
And you have to make a note in the tape recorder. That's me chewing on food.
Exactly. That's right.
Oh yeah, good
That's me
times.
burping. We're good.
I
Never
gotta
mind.
qualify all your erroneous sounds.
All the bodily functions have to be
Yeah,
noted.
exactly.
But
Good
no, we
times.
were there like the entire night. And of course, by 5 o'clock in the morning, it's starting to get light outside and nothing's happened, nothing at all. So the people upstairs were kind of, okay, let's go. We'll meet you. We're going to go and have coffee and we'll meet you. So we're going to, go outside and get everything down. And so, of course, great. So everything's down. Of course, when everything's down, that's when things start to happen. So there was just myself and this other girl at the bottom of the stairs, and beautiful old house, beautiful, incredible. And all of a sudden, and it's a warm day. So it's about like almost 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 90 Fahrenheit. It's hot. All
Sure.
of a sudden the temperature drops like a stone and it's freezing cold. And I thought, that's a little strange. And she said to me, it's really cold. And then all of a sudden, both of us looked up, and coming down the stairs was this old lady, full bodied apparition without any feet. So she had no feet. And she just glided down the stairs and
Okay.
went right through the front door, which was closed at the So she was just about to say something to me. And I said, okay, hold that thought. Grab your pencil and your notebook, write down what you saw. I'll write down what I saw, and then we'll trade,
Her
which we
notes.
did. And it was so funny how when she went right through the door, about not even a minute later, the temperature once again got warm. And it was like a textbook case of what you read in those, those haunting books. Like,
Sure.
just
I
amazing.
was going to say something about that. A very textbook. Yeah.
Very textbook, which kind of blew me away because I've always been really skeptical of, personal accounts of the paranormal. But
Sure.
when it happens to you and the temperature drops like a stone,
Yeah.
you think, oh, well, maybe there's something to that.
Right. For
Hmm.
sure. Oh my God. That's a great story. That's
That was crazy.
fantastic.
That was
Oh
crazy.
man.
Yeah.
No feet. That's the weird one. That's the weird part that I locked onto.
Yeah, no feet. And it's interesting because we've worked a few cases where people have told us that they've seen apparitions where they're not complete. So, you've got just the head or just the hands or just the legs. And I mean, I do believe it's the strength, obviously,
Yeah.
of whatever it is, of the energy that's trying to manifest in some way. And possibly it just doesn't have the strength to completely manifest. But
Yeah.
this was weird, like no feet.
I have a story to relate to that. This is one of the early things that happened to me personally that kind of got me into this whole field. It was a number of things over time that I finally said, "Hey, I have the tools to investigate this stuff now." But
Yeah.
the story is, I don't know if you're aware of a haunted place out here. It's a Toys R Us U.S. chain. I don't know if Canada has them or not.
Yes.
You do? Okay, fantastic. I didn't realize they're international. That's great. But it's in a town called Sunnyvale. It's not very far from me at all. And it was actually featured on, like, not Unsolved Mysteries. Oh gosh, one of those early shows where they investigate weird mysteries and stuff like that.
Right. Right.
The claim of the ghost that lives there is that, yeah, Hillbilly, no Ouija boards, man. Sorry. Bad move. Bad move. Hasbro has a lot to answer for putting making
Right?
it a game. Anyway, I digress. So one of the main claims about the ghost that or entity that inhabits that particular Toys R Us is they see eyes floating around.
Ooh.
Good times. Yeah, that'll be fun. But he's also known for object manipulation, and I witnessed that for myself. I was about 11 or 12, and we were there shopping for my brother because it was his birthday coming up, and he was super little at the time. So Dad's looking at the Duplo Legos, and I'm just gonna go meander while he does that. And I just happened down the plush aisle on my return trip back because I'm bored out of my mind. And there were these, I call them 2.5, 3 foot teddy bears
Oh.
as they sat there. And there were like 3 full shelves of them. These things were not moving. They were like, if you look at my background, look at the lighter, like the stenciled letters, they were that color blue. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of, right? Like electric blue, I guess is the best way to put it. And they weren't moving. It was pretty obvious. And I walked past them without a second thought, other than the thought that there were a lot of these things for whatever reason. Anyway, so I walked past. I'm about to round the corner down one of the other corridors that take you down to where my dad is. And I hear this. See if I can duplicate it. Okay, but it's louder, and there's multiple of them.
Oh God.
And I stop, and I turn, and all the teddy bears are suddenly facing me.
No way.
All the teddy bears are facing me, and I scooted. I almost swore, sorry. I scooted out there so fast. I ran up to my dad. I'm out of breath. He says, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Nothing." Tell him a thing. I didn't tell him a thing. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, that was messed up.
That's really messed up. I've heard about that place though.
Yeah.
I remember seeing things online about it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is the first personal story about this place. That is
Oh, yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, that's a weird one. There are tons of personal stories there. And I think one of the after Ghost Hunters, another paranormal team went there to one degree or another. And
oh wow.
I think they heard a noise in the back somewhere. That's it.
Oh
So
my
they
gosh.
kind of wrote it off. But dang. I mean, to see like something on the order of like 50 teddy bears, and they were stacked in a row and on 3 different shelves, just like that. And all of them earned.
Whoa.
It
Now
was
that's freaky.
that was messed up. I was because we chose just thinking about it, but
Ooh.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
the
yeah.
fact that they're toys. I mean, people are terrified enough about, haunted dolls and haunted teddy bears and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So, yikes.
Annabelle.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Hey, big hi to David from down the rabbit hole. He's here. Hey, welcome, David. That's fantastic to see you in here. But okay, so you have really great experience, man. Ah, it was a fantastic experience. I think I missed something in the chat where Kat had a battle with something. Maybe she'll tell us about that.
Oh,
Anyway, before we continue on, I have that soundbite for you.
oh, great.
So this is from my very, very first investigation, ladies and gentlemen. And I hopefully it's not too loud.
Oh, bring it on.
Yeah. Let's see. Adding it to the stage. So here we go. Listen about right here. I don't know if you can hear that or not.
Couldn't
It's
hear
about, huh? Did you hear it?
I couldn't hear anything.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Gotta
Let
make
me
it.
see.
Yeah, I
Let's
gotta make it
see.
longer.
Let me see. Let me see. There might be a way to.
Gotta be.
There's got to be a way. Let me see if I can toy with this for a
Gotta be.
second
Gotta
here.
be.
All right. So I'm going to remove that.
I love EVPs. They're like my favorite thing.
Oh, yeah. They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. Let
They're
me
amazing.
get this on a different. Ah, that's why.
Okay.
I think. Oh, gosh, I think. Hopefully, I don't lose you when I do this.
It's okay. You'll bring me back. It's all
I'll
good.
bring you back. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, let's try this again, and I'll crank up the volume on this.
Cool.
Hopefully, it won't be too loud. So it's going to play through my computer now, so I got to bring the mic down.
Okay.
Here we go. And I'm just going to highlight. Here we go.
Okay.
Do you hear it?
I still can't hear it.
Okay, because I goofed.
We all do, Tim. We all do. It's no
Oh,
worries.
you know what? I didn't put it up and share it. That will help.
Okay.
Share to audio or tab.
Okay. Gotta love
Good
computer.
times, good times. Okay, hopefully this works. Hopefully this works. Do you hear it?
I still can't hear
Oh,
anything.
that's
Figure
so
it out.
messed up. Ah, that's messed
Yeah,
up.
you'll figure it out. I know you'll figure it out. I
I
have.
will figure it out, and I will. Hold on. Let me cancel that. Let me get out of this. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's continue on with you as I figure that out on the side. Okay. That's too bad. I really wanted you guys to hear that too. But there was okay, so you have this experience. When do you start getting into you said you started your television stuff in 2017. Was
Yeah.
there were you do I remember right from your resume that you were on a radio show prior to that? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, you could be thinking about something else. Not to worry, though. No, I actually was exclusively investigating the paranormal before they contacted me to be on Paranormal Survivor. So obviously, people had been sort of following. Oh, that's what it was. I had um, put in a lot of cases. They were calling for paranormal investigators to share cases and people who may be interested in sharing their experiences for this brand new TV show. So a bunch of people, a bunch of paranormal investigators, I'm assuming globally, were contacted and put in a whole bunch of cases. So I had put in some cases, and that's sort of how the whole thing began. But prior to that, I was with the Toronto Ghosts and Hauntings Research Society. I was their assistant director for quite a few years, and there were some cool cases that we worked with the Toronto Ghosts and Hauntings Research Society. Toronto is a big place.
Yeah. Give me one. Top your favorite. Let's call it your favorite one.
Well, gosh, we
Yeah,
had.
I know.
Gee, I know there's so many of them. Well, we had gone to a place right next to Casa Loma, which I'm sure some people have heard about. Casa Loma is an older castle in the Toronto area, and
Okay.
there's a place next door to Casa Loma called Spadina House. Now, normally people would pronounce it Spadina House, but apparently it's supposed to be pronounced Spadina House, and it's quite an historic location. Now, the fourth floor of Spadina House was going to be where we were having our big party. So we were having this kind of like a Halloween party, an anniversary party for the Paranormal Society. And
Okay.
I was going to go early to set things up, and everybody was going to come later. I was not really told the history of this location. So I went up to the fourth floor, which, is not part of the actual museum or wasn't at the time, to set up. And I kept hearing like skedaddling kind of noises, kind of like
Oh.
little people going up and down the hallways, and I kept thinking, oh, it's got to be people that are working here, but I was setting things up and decorating and
Sure.
all of that. So when people started to arrive, the director and his sister arrived, and I kind of mentioned it, and he kind of looked at me with this, well, that's weird look on his face. And then later on in the evening, he said, yeah, nobody comes up here, but this is where the family used to live.
No.
And of course, there were always reports of little children. And that was one of the first times when we were taking things down and moving chairs when everybody left, where we actually had an EMF detector. They were kind of a new gadget at the time.
Yeah.
So we tested our EMF detector, and we were getting really big hits. So this girl, Jennifer, who is still a friend of mine, she and I had one of the best experiences up on the fourth floor of Spadina House with our EMF detector. Um, I think that was probably the most interesting thing, because when you're not told the history of a location,
Sure.
and you start hearing things and experiencing things, that's always a lot of fun. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of fun. We did have some things that happened. I know that we went to a radio station in the Niagara region,
Okay.
and there were things that happened, things that started falling on their own, voices in one of the sound booths. Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of little things happen. I don't remember anything as huge as a full-bodied apparition happening.
Sure. Sure.
But we did have a lot of really interesting experiences that we couldn't explain away. And that's what I find really interesting, going forward in this whole field. And that's one of the reasons why we always have public meetings, especially these days. Our
Yeah.
Paranormal Society hosts meetings because, there's a lot of power in shared experiences. Because as you know, when you have an experience that you can't explain, sometimes you think you're losing your mind,
Yeah.
right?
You do
But if
question
you
yourself.
right? If you can
Right.
share those experiences with other people, or
Yeah.
say, okay, this happened to me, and 5 or 6 or 10 or 12 other people go, yeah, well, same thing happened to me, then you know that there's something to it, that
Yeah.
there's definitely something there. So I just find it fascinating.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Casa Loma, Cat was there few years back apparently. And I don't know if you read that statement I put up, but she heard horses, the Staples,
Oh yeah.
ghost horses, and apparently there's no horses there anymore. So
It's a weird place. Casa Loma is really an interesting place. And it's true. A lot of people hear ghostly horses, and there's a tunnel under Casa Loma. Kat will definitely understand that. And a lot
okay,
of people have weird experiences in the tunnels under Casa Loma.
gotcha. How old is the castle?
Do you know what? Good question. Not entirely sure. Although I do remember visiting it as a kid, and it seemed old even then. But
Hmm.
I'm actually not from Toronto, so I don't know all of the history of Casaloma.
Okay.
But Montreal has a lot of cool, like really cool old places.
Oh, fun.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty cool. Hey, I think I fixed that thing.
cool.
So,
I
and
want to hear.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, you'll hear my investigator really clearly, and then you got to listen a little bit. So I'll get the mic a little closer to the computer.
Cool.
Here's hoping. Let's rescan everything. Hold on, just making sure. Okay, good. Here we go.
Or where you are.
Did you hear that little?
Very slight. You
Yeah,
gotta play
yeah.
it again.
It's not as bright as she is, but as far as noise goes,
Yeah,
that probably came out completely wrong.
I love that.
But maybe I can make that available to everyone. If I can, I will. But yeah, so there was that. Well, if you clean it up, which I thought that was this file actually, but it isn't. It's the original.
That's okay.
But it
It's fine.
says, "I'm right next to you, Farah."
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I love when that happens.
Good stuff. Have you ever toyed with that EVP device where it not only records, but it'll actually send the recorded sound file to your earphones? Like, instead of listening to it live, there's a minor delay, kind of like we're experiencing right now.
Right.
And you can actually hear what the playback will sound like on like a delayed thing. There were some investigators, and they actually had their own television show briefly. They were brothers
Oh.
somewhere in the U.S. I want to say they're the Wraith Chasers, but I don't think that's correct. I think that was a different group.
Okay. All right.
But they were fantastic. I thought they had a lot of, and they actually caught a lot of stuff, which is fantastic. It wasn't made up like a lot of these shows do.
Oh.
And they had this one thing. They went to this house. It was infamous and haunted and dark because of a murder that took place there. But it wasn't just a single murder. Some individual, and apparently they caught the guy during the time. This is back in the 19th century, give or take, where this guy just basically walks into the house at night and kills everybody in all the different bedrooms and then walks out of the house. And so when they go to investigate some 100 years later, they're there and they keep saying, oh, no, mark that. You know, it's like, because they're hearing stuff that we're not hearing. And and every time they went through the different rooms in the succession of the actual stabbings, completely on accident. Maybe they were guided somehow. I don't know. But it was fantastic. It was a fascinating investigation, one of their best. Wow. And it was really, but they had that device where they could say, mark that. And they were both freaking out at the same time. They each had their own individual recorders, and they were saying the exact same thing every single time. So I like those guys a lot. And I like that device. I want one very, very bad. Wow. But I was just curious to know if you ever played with anything like that.
I'd love to see what that is. I mean, there's so many devices out there now. I mean, it seems kind of crazy. So many teams have all kinds of devices. Yeah. And some of them I think are great. Some of them I question. But I did have to laugh at your reaction to the Ouija board thing.
Yeah, you know, now that comes with a personal experience too.
I was just going to ask you that.
Who's interviewing who here, Lynda?
I know, right?
I'm teasing.
I love it.
But so, you know, as you want to do when you're a teenager, the heck with all the rules, right? And so my friend busts out his Ouija board one night, and there's like 5 or 6 of us sitting around. And we can't get a name of whatever it is we're interacting with. So I think someone's pushing it around. You know, prove you're here is the question, is the demand, really. And nothing happens at all. And then we flip the lights on, totally disappointed, and suddenly there, like half on the board, is my friend's pet turtle, who was in his cage the whole night.
Come on.
And somehow it showed up, like it manifested. It was weird.
Oh my gosh. No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. And no one got up because we were very aware of what was happening in the whole space there. So no one got up. No one tiptoed in. That thing just suddenly appeared right next to us. Its little paws on the front paws on the board, looking around. It was pretty impressive. But
Crazy. I mean,
yeah,
who
that's pretty
would let
messed up.
that turtle out? Come on.
I mean, the funny thing is that the turtle really wasn't. It was nighttime. It should be dormant at this time. You know, and in fact, when we first went into the room, he was in his shell. He wasn't coming out for anybody.
That's weird.
Suddenly, he was there. very awake.
Very strange.
Yeah, it was pretty messed up.
Weird.
Uh, but that it wasn't just that; it was other experiences other people had with Ouija boards that were way darker, including investigations I went on,
Yeah.
where you probably sounds like you had a similar experience where they don't protect themselves and they don't close the door like you're supposed to,
Exactly.
and it is. That's why I just say, you know what? Bother with the door at all. Don't just leave it alone. All right. Uh, I'm just Ouija boards are just not my bag at all. Neither are talking boards or even the really old school ones that are made from a piece of driftwood that someone found. No, no, not me.
I know.
Not at
People
all.
create all kinds of stuff to speak to spirits. And I can't tell you the number of investigations that we're called to do because somebody played with a Ouija board or whatever it was, some homemade object that was some sort of divination device, didn't quite know how to use it, was kind of making fun of it when they were using it. And then something kind of happened and now they can't get rid of it.
Right.
So it's like, help, help. And then, of course, well, you're an investigator. You'll go and you'll clear and everything will be great and you'll make sure everything's cool. You warn them of the risks. You talk to them about protection and all of that. And then what happens 6 months later? Same people. Oh my gosh, help, help, help. And you're thinking, really?
Yeah. Learn your lesson, guys. Come on.
Yeah, no. People love that. They just love it. It's like dating the wrong person. Let's just keep doing it over and over.
Great way to put it. It's like, oh my gosh, that's too funny.
It's true.
It's very true. It's very true. The other one that I had happened to me, I gurgled there. Excuse me. The other one I had happen to me were old, and I mean old tarot cards.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, or an interesting doorway if you misuse them. And these were from from Baton Rouge or something like that, down in Louisiana. And pretty, I think they were hand painted, if I remember correctly.
Oh, so they were full of energy. And
full of energy, yeah. And it was, and they were a little bit thicker, but they still had a card kind of a texture to them. And it was beautiful work. I'm not gonna lie, it was just beautiful work. But they were, wow. And they summoned something that was so dark. It was just bad news. I think we got it out, but the person never called back. So
so it either got them or it's good.
Or it's all good. Yeah, right. I should check up on my clients more often. Make sure they're all good.
I do that.
Are you still alive? Good. You're still here.
I know. I'm looking at the conversation sometimes, and I love these people in the chat. They're cool.
Oh yeah. It's hard to focus sometimes. It's like, really? I didn't know that happened. So they have an entire subset of things happening over here.
It's great.
It's really funny. Swear he burned. Yeah. That's a good cautionary tale. I'm going to bring this up. So this is the tail end of a story. So he had some thing happen, or his buddy did, and it was through a Ouija board. He burns the board.
Oh.
But still, things kept happening, apparently. So.
Oh, there's lots of cautionary tales about burning things.
Yeah, it's a transfer. It's just a conversion of energy, really. And in fact, the energy isn't trapped anymore, so they say, and it goes.
It's crazy.
It goes wild, Now you have whatever you may have had trapped in this board, to one to another is
Not
now out in
good.
the world.
It's
Good
not
job.
good.
Don't
It's
do that.
not good. Oh no. Well, it's interesting because when I was doing Paranormal Survivor, there was a case that we had to comment on, and it actually involved a spirit board. And we were
Okay.
told don't call them Ouija boards because that apparently is a right. It's a copyrighted name, so you're supposed to call them. Yeah, it's weird. You're supposed to call them spirit boards. Okay,
Right.
but this family had brought in this spirit board and were playing with it, and of course some strange things started to happen, so they got really terrified, and they took it and they threw it into one of those metal garbage cans and set it alight, and of course, it burned. It was beyond recognition. And then the next day the father goes into the garage or whatever, and guess what's sitting on the workbench?
Yep.
The spirit board, and it's fine. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it. And it's like, yeah, sure, yeah, sure. But
Yeah.
there are people that will tell you, yeah, don't do that because you do release a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's pretty crazy the stuff that people tell you happened to them. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think you should be burning things like that. Just like I don't think you should be burning like little whatever they're called, the juju bags and things like that.
Oh, yeah. That's supposed to be a bad move.
Well, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a case like that.
Oh, did
Where
you?
this lady, actually, I was driving home. This is years ago, and she called me on my cell phone and was absolutely terrified because she had found one of these bags, and
She just
uh,
found it?
yeah, she found it in her home. It was
Oh.
Yep, it was someone that she'd been having issues with, and she believed that this person had hidden it in her home.
Oh,
So, yeah.
man.
So when she was house cleaning, when you do that big spring clean and the
Sure.
is over, and she found this, and she'd been having some really horrible luck for a
Mhm.
very long time, like car accidents, sicknesses, things like that. And
Sure.
she found this bag. And so she said, well, I don't know quite what to do. So she explained what was inside the bag. And there were pieces of hair, there were some teeth, some cloth, like all kinds of weird things in there. So
Yeah.
a friend of mine who is into some paganistic practices had said it's
Sure.
fine to burn it. However, what you need to do after you burn it is what's important. So if
Yeah.
you burn it, you contain it, then you wrap it all up, all the burnt pieces, and you must bury everything that's been burnt, but you can't bury it on your own property. You've got to take it like far away,
Yeah.
and you've got to burn it. You have to bury it off of your property, because if you don't, then things can happen. Things can come back to you. But if you
Yeah.
take it far, far away, then, that's okay. So they actually did that. Things were much better for a very long period of time, which I think was fantastic. But again, things weren't too dormant for too long with this
Oh.
family. So I think what probably happened was they were probably sent something, maybe in the form of energy or something like that,
Could be.
to kind of permeate the environment of this family. Whoever did this was very obviously very strong.
Yeah.
Um, and so they eventually did manage to get rid of whatever it was, but they did have a difficult time doing so. So when people talk about, cursed people or situations that keep cropping up to the same people, am I cursed? Am I cursed? I mean, there's a lot,
Hmm.
right? There's a lot of intention when you're dealing with something like that. So you have to be really careful because there's a lot of intention, and what we deal with is
Yeah.
not just energy, but it's intentional energy. So yeah,
Excellent way to put it.
sure.
Excellent way to put it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a very short break to do some station identification, and then we're going to jump right back in. So this will be about 15 seconds this time, or
Perfect.
maybe a little bit more. if I can find a specific asset, we might be longer. We'll see. So, give us a little bit. We'll be right back. This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRN Esoteric programming at its finest. And welcome back, everyone. See, I told you it was going to be short. You guys are just having so much fun in the chat. I haven't been able to really keep track of certain things, but that's great. So one of the things that strikes me as a paranormal investigator is the miscues that clients give us. Also that in these miscues, we kind of find little bits of truth. So for me, and probably for you as well, I've been on multiple cases where it's been the pipes, rodents, insects, or bad carpentry even. I had one bad carpentry kind of plays a little bit more into the electrical side of things. I went to this one house. This kid was seeing all kinds of weird stuff. And I'm very, very sensitive to the electromagnetic field anyway. And apparently this house was completely knocked down and completely rebuilt by an amateur. Not that the house was shaky or unsound in its own right, but the electrical was badly done. In that they took all the power and they routed it into the fuse box, which was in the middle of the house versus the outside of the house. So there's all this EMF flooding this area, and this kid's room was at ground zero, and that's where he was seeing all this weird stuff. And I had an EMF meter at that time, and it was bing, 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 bing. It just wouldn't shut up. So he says, we also see a lot of strange things in the basement. So naturally, we go down to the basement, and the guy I was working with at the time didn't feel it, but I did, because like I said, I'm super sensitive to it. And I hit this, I can only describe it as a root of energy that stretched way down, so much so that I had to back up off and go around it. And it's like, do you feel that? And I waved my hand through it, and I could feel it for sure. And my partner at the time couldn't. I says, no, but I could see it on the scanner, and it was burying the needle. It was bad, like toxic bad. So it was, EMF bath, in a big bad way, hillbilly. That's right. That's what he said in the chat. And so it was, it's stuff like that that I ran into quite a bit when I was doing cases every single week, it seemed. Yeah, an electrician, way past time to call an electrician a cat. But I saw a lot of that. Did you experience that as well?
Oh, gosh, yeah. As a matter of fact, in 2017, I remember going to a case just outside of the Toronto area. And these people were having all kinds of stuff happening. They were hearing things, they were seeing things, and they were terrified. And it was so weird because when we actually investigated, the EMF levels in the house were off the chart, like just off the chart. And we're talking like not just with the K2s, but of course with the actual EMF, milligauss meters. It was nuts.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was, when you do a little investigating and you kind of talk to them and you talk to maybe some of the neighbors, you realize all kinds of things. So for example, when we went outside of the actual house, even on the block walking, EMFs were nuts. And the neighbors were saying that there were so many people in the area that had health issues, like, cancer, awful stuff. And again, when you looked up, you saw those lines, right? lots and lots of those incredible cables and everywhere, and
Sure.
just the EMF levels were insane. And so many people don't understand that that can really affect you. I mean, that can affect so many things, and you
Yeah.
can totally think that you're losing your mind. You can think your house is completely haunted.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, but they don't tell you the truth, because a lot of times they themselves don't even really know. So,
That's
but
true.
to the neighbors, you find out a lot.
You're absolutely correct. That reminds me of a case we just had where they were experiencing some legitimate things because they actually caught some poltergeist activity on their security cameras. So there was legitimate activity there, but there was also ancillary activity that was questionable. And mostly this was eyewitness stuff. But it turned out they were in a house rather,
Yeah.
that was powered by the aerials, the wires going up to the telephone pole and the whole stuff. And the way it was constructed, they were in a longhouse, an old bunkhouse from way back when, built in the 40s or something like that, that was divided and became a duplex, ersatz duplex anyway. So when they wired it in, they ran the power down the sides of the house completely, like almost, except for the wiring being shielded. It was just basically, to borrow, got his name all of a sudden, from Ghost Hunters, a fear cage.
Oh,
So,
right. Wow.
so, and not only that, they had this overpowered, in my personal estimation, overpowered Wi-Fi system, this router, right next to the front door on the inside wall, where they had a couch set up so they could watch TV. Yeah. Yeah. So
Um,
it's like, first off, you got to move that. I'm getting red lines all over this area. It's toxic.
yeah, people
Yeah.
people do that. They submit themselves to all kinds of incredible, I
Yeah.
mean, frequencies, which, like, that messes with your brain. Like, that really does.
Mm-hmm. Kat asked an interesting question. Does EMF attract spirits? I've not experienced that. I think it may, but I mean, you're certainly feeding into that power system to a degree, because if we're in a place that has no power, like an abandoned whatever, and you have spirit activity, usually you get EMF reactions as well. So that's entirely possible, but I would think that if there are, uh, you know, poorly designed homes with these massive EMF, you know, generators, for lack of a better term, it would be more obvious. There'd be poltergeist activity all over the place. That's my take anyway. What
Yeah,
do you think?
I think that's probably true. I
Okay.
mean, there's a lot of competition. If ghosts are attracted to EMF and you're sitting on a couch that right, is like bombarded by all kinds of Wi-Fi and
Yeah.
all kinds of, yeah, I mean, they would be in direct competition with all that. And frankly, I don't think they could win that race. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I don't
tend
know.
to agree. I tend to agree.
I don't know. They'd probably cancel each other out. I don't know.
That makes sense. It's funny you mentioned that, because I went back to the college where I caught that EVP about a decade later, and we went back to try and recreate the thing. But the college had gone solar, a lot of solar, and where this original thing happened, they not too far away, but far enough away that all the capacitors, all those big industrial capacitors, were sitting on the other side of the quad where this happened. And we bust out the EMF, and it's like a heartbeat. Boom, boom, boom. It would just bury the needle every single time. It's like, oh man, there's nothing here.
Wow.
Nothing. They'd obliterated the spiritual activity. So that's why I tend to think that spirits will actually be repelled, close to what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder about that sometimes.
Mhm.
I do. I do.
Yeah, because we still did the investigation, but no, every boom, I mean, it was literally that went 0 to red
Oh,
on a heartbeat every single time, just
wow.
because of the output of the capacitors. It was just insane. But
Wow.
yeah.
That's interesting because, when you do an investigation at a location that is completely bereft of any kind of, EMF, anything like that, it's the most incredible and intoxicating. And you kind of get, you want to go back. Like
Yeah.
it's the most amazing thing because when you're in a location like that, and something occurs,
Yeah.
it's just riveting. As an investigator, it's amazing. And we had been to one location, and it's now you'll love this one. It's actually slated for demolition, and it's super haunted. It was a base, an army base at one time. Then it
Ooh.
turned into a hospital for, psychiatric use. So, yeah, both, both adults and children. So it was
Oh
an army
no.
base, a psychiatric hospital, and then it was closed, and it became a paintball place.
Okay.
And so active. And the people who actually bought it used to rent it out to a lot of groups for paranormal investigation, to
Okay.
test their equipment and training and all of that. And it was so active. It was incredible. It's called Prince Edward Heights, and it's in a place called Picton,
Mm.
Ontario. But
Apparently, that's where you met Kat.
right? That is
That's what she told me just now in
that
the
is
chat.
exactly where I met Kat. But it's an addictive. It was an addictive location. Now, of course, you can't go and investigate there,
Aw.
unfortunately. But it was one of those places where, I mean, there's nothing. There's no electricity. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing. There's no
Mm.
Wi-Fi. There's nothing. So when you're investigating there, it is absolutely clear, and that's when it's fun because,
Yeah.
especially when it's haunted
Yeah.
is, when you get readings and you get, EVPs and your
Yeah.
equipment starts to go a little bonkers.
Yeah.
Things start moving, you see things, you take pictures of things that you really can't explain.
Oh yeah.
That's when it gets a little crazy. And that's when you realize, there's a lot more out there than anybody could ever explain, but it's addictive. It's addictive.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially when you get your first hit. Like the one I just played you, that was our first hit ever as a team, and wow, that light a fire.
Right?
That was amazing. We dined on that forever. We couldn't wait to get our next case, and it came pretty quick, but still, and that was
Awesome.
a doozy of a case that followed it too.
Awesome.
One of the one of the things I find as an investigator is, and I touched on this briefly with all the mistakes people make, people mistake rather for hauntings rather, is I think it's called pareidolia, where they see things aren't really there, and that's you can't really blame people because sometimes they're a little more aware of that type of thing. I mean, that sense is just dialed up, and that's for those who don't know, that's being able to find the pattern of a face in like stucco walls and that type of thing, or clouds even. But I mean, we're meant to see faces as a vestige of an old warning, a predator warning, back when we were still in caves and stuff. But I can't remember if it was the last case we did or the case before that, where they said they looked at a wall, like they somehow the wall itself was haunted, and they look at a wall, and every time I look at a wall, I see a demon's face. I was like, oh damn, okay, sure. So I looked at the wall, and I said, point out the eyes to me, okay, point out the mouth to me, and Okay, I could see where she was coming from. I didn't see it immediately though. You think it were if it were that obvious, I'd be able to see it too. But she had to point it out to me. I said, "Yeah, you do see that's the wall design, right? Just that's the way the mud laid down." Yeah, for sure. There was another client, Paradolia again, where they were doing, or their kid was doing some sort of mirror selfie thing, some internet activity, and they turned out the lights as part of their gag, right? And suddenly they're starting to see demonic faces behind the girl who's shooting herself in the mirror, and it was they said, I think there's demonic activity in my bathroom or in the house in general because we've had little things happen here and there, and but this is the one that really alarmed me. So I did the experiment myself. I more or less duplicated what she did, and then I said, okay. And it was like 30-second video I did. I said, okay, this is me. I'm in the room, turning out the lights, and it's just the light from the phone illuminating everything else. I said, behind me, you're going to see the exact same faces or something very close to it because it's a low res camera, and you're going to get all that static, all that because the camera's trying to compensate for the darkness, right?
Yeah.
And sure enough, I said, hit pause at any moment, you're going to see a demonic face. And sure enough, that's what happened. So pareidolia plays a lot into a lot of cases, I find.
It does. Well, not only pareidolia in terms of like pictures or things like that, but also like auditory pareidolia.
True.
Because we did a case a few years ago where people said, yeah, we hear whispering, like we hear whispering. And so when we went, well, they have like an underground spring, which is constantly running. And they have, right. And of course, they have one of those, I can't remember what they're called, that pumps out the water.
Oh, the cistern?
Yeah.
Cistern? Okay.
Yeah. So of course you can hear that trickle, constant trickle. And of course, when it rains or whatever, the trickle becomes almost like a big flushing sound. And of
Sure.
course, you're going to hear voices because your brain tries to make sense out of what it's hearing. And
Right.
running water can sound like whispers. So, you're right. Pareidolia plays a lot into it, whether it's auditory, whether it's, visual. And how many people would send us pictures saying, oh, yeah, look at this. I see there's a demon in my bedroom. Yeah, well, no, that's just the light or it's pain. And people don't like it when you tell them that.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually came into the habit of when I knew I was going to disprove their ideas. I was like, listen, I have very good news for you. You're not haunted. It's like,
Right?
really? That's great. And so that was the tact I learned after a few botched attempts to tell people the truth. To give them
Right?
the good news first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here's the
But
good news. You're not haunted. It's okay. Here's what happened.
but
Or
some people love to be haunted. They live
it's
to be.
weird. Yeah, there's a weird kind of for lack of a better term, a victim mentality. It's like,
Yeah.
darn it, I want to be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get angry about it sometimes.
They
It's
do.
kind of crazy.
That's like when they send you pictures of orbs because, orbs are a thing.
Yep.
So, and there are truly, and I believe this after having been in the field for as long as I've been,
Yep.
I've seen orb anomalies with my naked eye.
Yep.
And I believe in orb anomalies, but not everything is an orb. But when people send you pictures of orbs, or so they think, and you tell them, no, that's clearly a bug, or no, that's clearly dust, they really don't like it. And
Yeah.
they are nasty.
They can to get.
To be. They want it to be so badly.
Yeah.
Like people who go to public paranormal investigations and they get really ticked off if after 20 minutes they don't have something happen
Yeah.
because apparently ghosts are supposed to perform on command, but ghosts don't often perform on command. So you're kind of stuck in that, well, yeah, no. It's
Too
hard.
funny. Too
It's
funny.
hard times, being a paranormal investigator.
It is, yeah, and I blame the television shows for that because I mean, and I don't. At the same time, I don't. It's just, yeah, you keep watching TV, you got to realize these things are edited, and
Yeah.
they up until I think it was the first season of Ghost Hunters, they didn't do it, but from that point forward, they did. They put the little time. Like
Yes.
it's 2:36 in the morning, it's 4:45 in the morning, that type of thing to clue people in that there were edits happening. You know,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
There are edits happening. We have a huge all caps request from Kat.
Oh my gosh.
Does Lynda have a favorite place to investigate?
Oh,
Private residence or historical buildings?
oh wow. Do you know what? We do so many private residences, but truly my heart belongs to really interesting historical locations. I mean, a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to go on a paranormal tour of
Mm,
the UK, which was phenomenal. I mean, I went
sounds
to
fun.
Scotland, and it was fun when I took, you'll love this, when I took my equipment over the border at the airport. It was so funny at customs because they called you over. Of course, they called me over because what is all this stuff? So
Oh, sure.
I opened up my kit, and they were like, "Oh, what's that?" Pointed to the REM pod, and were like, "Oh, I've seen this on that TV show. What's that TV show?" It was hilarious. So I'm like, I really need to get through customs because I might miss my flight. But it was really an interesting experience because um, to have an opportunity to explore places like, for example, we went to Greyfriars Cemetery.
Oh, I've
That
heard.
was
Yeah.
amazing in Edinburgh. And it's just incredible. And I think the reason I like historical places like that is because there's just so much history there. And if you're a sensitive person, like you mentioned, you're really sensitive, you can pick up on, just the atmosphere. The atmospheric conditions are just incredible because there's so much there. And Greyfriars was interesting too because there are places at Greyfriars where it's almost like you've walked into a Faraday box because there's
Uh,
nothing there. It's like nothing. It's completely bereft of anything. So it
sure.
feels odd. And then you walk a few more meters and you're back. It's the strangest place. But, when you immerse yourself in the history of the location and you can feel the energy in that place, it's just overwhelming, but so interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so cool.
that
I
was
love
really
that.
cool.
That's awesome. I'm a little jealous.
Well, you know what? I was actually in Chester, England. There's a place called Ye Old King's Head Inn, and
Okay.
it's really cool. It was built in, like, I think 1210 or some ridiculous thing like
I
that.
think I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
And it's still a pub, and there are still rooms that you can actually rent,
Yeah.
but there's a part of it that investigators can investigate in, and they've
Oh,
kind of kind of ramped it up. So they decorated it with some haunted dolls, and they put, like, upside down crucifixes in
oh
front
no.
of them. Not a place that I absolutely loved, but I had the weirdest experience there because I actually was smacked on the head by a ghost in one of the bedrooms.
Like,
like
like, really?
like hard on the head.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. And it
Oh
was
no.
just incredible. First, the ghost tried to trip me by, when somebody kind of knees you in the back of the knee and you
Oh,
kind of, right?
yeah.
That's what happened to me. There was nobody behind me. I was close to the wall, and
Golly.
I was with a group of people. And as everybody was exiting, in my head, I was saying, "Oh, come on, this is campy. This nothing's going to happen. It's way too campy here." So I was very skeptical. And as we were leaving, and there were witnesses to this, all of a sudden, right on the back of
Oh,
the
Yeah.
and it came from the ceiling.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yes, and as I looked, it looked like something was going back into the ceiling, like retracting into the ceiling. And then when the light was on, there was nothing. I mean, there's nothing. That ceiling was fine. There were no holes, there was nothing. And I knew that something hit me because I was not believing that anything was going to happen.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, it was like, come on, Linda, I'm here.
It seems like every time you think about something, somehow you're broadcasting it, and then
Yeah.
it happens to you.
Well, the first thing that I thought of was, are you the same guy who threw an ashtray at me when I was
Are you
18?
following me, Ashtray Gang? What's going on?
Like, come on,
Oh,
man.
man. Oh, hitchhikers. That's something else I wanted to ask you about. Have you ever had you or your team have hitchhikers? And by that, I mean spirits that have followed you home.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I had a hitchhiker follow me home in about 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a dumb, stupid mistake. I should know by now
Yeah.
that you go and you're testing equipment or you're somewhere that's active, you have to say, don't follow me home. And I mean, I do this all the time. But
Yeah.
that one particular night, we had gone to test some equipment at a cemetery because we got some new stuff. So, when you get some gadgets, you want to see if they work and you don't
Sure.
want to try them out in your own environment because you don't want to invite anything in. So you go elsewhere,
All right.
which we did. And then it started to rain. So we kind of hurriedly put everything in the car and, we all went in different directions. I drove home and it was dark and everybody was asleep. And I didn't say,
Hmm.
okay, if there's anybody here with me, you're not allowed in.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say that. So I ran inside my house, ran upstairs, put on my PJs, washed my face, brushed my teeth. My husband was already in bed, and my kids were already asleep. And I crawled into bed and thought, oh man, I'm tired. Closed my eyes, and I knew there was something standing beside me.
Ah.
Now, my husband and I have been married. Next month will be 40
Oh,
years.
congratulations. Excellent.
Thank you. Yeah, I know, crazy. And I still like him, Tim. Like, it's amazing.
Hey, that's awesome.
Right? But so he's used to me by now.
Right.
But I mean, I was lying there and I thought, oh my God, yeah, there's something there. And I kind of, how you kind of open your eye, and I did that. And there was
Mhm.
something dark at the end, well, beside me. It wasn't at the end of the bed, it was right beside me. And I just said, okay, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to be here. You need to leave,
Yeah.
and you need to leave now. And I guess I was more forceful than I usually am because it took about 5 minutes for whatever it was to actually leave.
Okay.
So it was a little tenacious, but I must have said it about 4 or 5 times out loud. My
Yeah.
husband said nothing. And then I felt that it was gone.
Okay.
But I did get up and I did, wander around the house just to make sure and said, okay, if anybody is still lingering, you're out of here. Opened the front door and said, get out. Went back to bed and my husband said, is it gone? And I said, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. He said, oh, good. Oh, good. Excellent.
This house is clear.
House is clear. Yes.
I only ever had something, and I don't know that it was a hitchhiker per se, because it seemed like it was. If it was super latent, because it was between cases, and I mean a sizable gap, like maybe a few months.
Oh, wow.
And I get up in the middle of the night, got to do some business, as you might expect, and
What
on my
kind
way.
of business, Tim?
Well, let me tell you. So I'm on my way back out of the bathroom, if you must know. And I cross the hall. I'm headed to my room, and there's something down the hall in the living area. And I look at it, and I told this story the other day, but I'll tell it again. And I see this hunched over form with scraggly hair,
Ooh.
but it's black on black. It is Vanta black. There's no light at all. And then I kind of do this, like the cats do sometimes. And just to make sure I'm not seeing things. And it turns profile, and now I can really see the hunch. And it kind of goes away and down like it was on an escalator. And I don't freak out necessarily. I get ticked. I'm mad now. It's like, what is that doing in my house? So I go into full investigation mode. And I get my UV flashlight because I know these things hate UV flashlights, UV light. So first thing that comes out, I said, "You feel that? You ever come out here again, you're getting more of it." And I'm not afraid to use it. I have plenty of batteries. And I said, "You are and I kind of do exactly what you said. So you were never allowed here again. And nothing ever came of it right after that. But it was, I didn't like that at all. And I felt like, I guess, invaded, and I was ticked. I was mad. I was up the rest of the night. I barely got any sleep. It's like just on the computer trying to find something to relax me. Nothing doing. But I did get rid of it.
Oh, thank goodness for that. But it's true. It's like you do feel invaded.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think that, if you have an experience in your home, that's usually what most people tell us, is that they feel like when you don't feel alone,
Yeah.
and you're sort of hypersensitive to everything. You're hyper vigilant about what's going to happen
Right.
every moment of the day. That's really tough. That's really tough, and you do feel invaded. And I think that's the reason why we're paranormal investigators, because you feel that you're doing something good. You're helping people in whatever way that you possibly can. It's hard to really explain, but it's almost like it's a calling. I know that sounds crazy, but
No, not at all. That's exactly how I feel about it.
yeah, it's like a calling.
It very much is. I couldn't agree more. And it's great to be able to provide people a way to not only validate their experiences, but to give them an opportunity to be without. You can get rid of these things,
Yeah.
and there's ways to do it. Although I will say, sometimes people paint themselves into a corner, and I'll tell you this story real quick. Kiara, use UV flashlights. That's all I'm saying. I'm serious. I'm not, because they don't like them. Apparently, there's something about it. They don't like it, and it does. Yes, hillbilly does go a long way. So validation is true. However, some people paint themselves into a corner or get painted into a corner because of a difference in spiritual belief. I had this happen to me. I got this case, an Army vet. He just retired. Okay. He was done with combat and he did his tour. He met someone overseas, brought his wife and child back with him, and they're temporarily living at grandma's place. Well, his parents, I should say. And it's just his mom. It was his mom and his dad, but dad passed about a year before. And granddad had a very interesting experience where the last few, I think he said a few months, if not a few weeks, of his life, he would lock himself in his room, his den, they called it. And he'd have full blown conversations with people who just weren't there. And sometimes he'd be laughing at them. Sometimes he'd just be talking, not laughing with them. Sometimes they'd just be talking to them. And other times he'd have full on arguments, blowouts
Wow.
with someone in there. And you could easily say dementia. And the guy was heading down that path.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what follows that experience is the little girl, the granddaughter. She's like 4, maybe 3 or 4, and they're in a situation where they have to share the same bed. It's a bigger bed, but all 3 of them kind of have to share the bed. So the parents scooch out and they give the kid the center, right?
Yeah.
And off their bedroom is a door to the garage. And the little girl wakes up one night. The door opens and out steps this disgusting, shadowy thing.
Yeah.
Definitely not human.
Ugh.
And it kind of skitter stalks in.
Oh, jeez.
She's scared absolutely to death, practically. And she's so scared she can't make a noise. And she describes this to her parents as like, yeah, it was there a long time, then it went back into the garage. And she said, I think the sun was coming up then. So I get that story. It's happened a few times. And suddenly Dad saw it one night because he felt his little girl sit up.
Oh.
He felt the rustling. So he gets up. What are you looking? Oh my God. And there it is. Validated for now they've both seen it.
Right.
Thing goes back into the garage. And they're afraid now, super afraid. And suddenly, it's not confined to that space anymore. Now there's stuff happening all over the house.
Oh, jeez.
Grandma calls a priest. Please come and bless my house. The priest follows through, comes over, blesses the house, all the rooms, but it seems to tick it off. And suddenly things go calm for a bit, but we've all heard this before. They suddenly escalate. I mean, someone stepped on the gas so crazy weird, and there we go. And as I'm coming over, I'm on the phone with them because they called me for help. And I'm going over there as a prelim. I'm the only one available. Everyone else is at work on the team. So I'm going to just do a little quick prelim. They're going to stay there and yada, yada, yada. I'm not going in by myself. And I'm on the phone with them. And they said, oh, my God. I was like, oh, what happened? Are you okay? And they said, this coffee cup just flew off the kitchen counter and landed against the wall. I was like, oh, has that happened before? No, that's the first time we've had that happen. So things are escalating. I get there, and there's definitely a weird vibe in the house. I mean, the best way I could describe it was to say that it was full of electricity that was bouncing all over the place. I couldn't see it. I couldn't hear anything, but yeah, good old flying coffee cup trick. Yeah, I hear you. I thought it was the hot water thing. If you put a coffee cup upside down on a hot sink, it'll float.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. That wasn't it. She actually stuck it in the draining board. Apparently it popped out and went whoosh across the room. So I disproved that almost. I mean, I tried to disprove it, but I couldn't. So anyway, yeah. And so they take me to the bedroom first where the major hotspot is. They will not let me into granddad's room. His den. It's off limits. It's his space. Okay. I said, what are you talking about? Well, we don't go in there because every time we go in there, things go really, really wrong. I was like, oh, no, they gave this thing a space.
Oh, jeez.
They gave it you cannot do that. This has happened so many times with way more famous cases than this, where you have an object that you give to the entity that's bugging you. There's an instance, and I think it was mentioned on, it may have been the show you were on, actually, where they give the entity a cat, a little ceramic cat.
Oh, jeez.
And it's like, that's your cat. Because it was always playing with the ceramic cats. The wife collected them or something like that. That's your cat. You can have that cat. That's your cat. Dad comes home after a business trip, and what's this thing doing out? Oh, that's the ghost's cat. Oh, screw that. And he takes the cat, hurls it outside. It shatters.
Oh.
And there. Done with that. The next morning, that cat is completely reassembled, no glue, nothing. On the thing, on the counter where it was, where he picked it up and tossed it. And yeah, I've seen that story on TV. And further, when he goes, I think he goes into the bathroom immediately after that, and it's CAT spelled out all over the walls and the mirror and the whole thing. in, I don't know what it was, blue, as I recall, but that's crazy. So it's the same basic identity. It's the same basic thing. They gave it a space, which was
I can see
just
that.
idiotic on their part. And it's like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. And at the time, I didn't have the ability to get rid of or expel spirits.
Right.
When
Yikes.
the And so I said, listen, I'd love to help you, but I'm limited. I can verify the stuff. I can take readings. I
Right.
can bring my team out here, yada, yada, yada. But I can't expel it, not yet. Further, you've already had a Catholic priest out here to do that. If you know anything about energy spectrums and stuff like that, once you start something along a certain line, you can't shift gears. So you have to have another priest come out and do the exact same thing, but more powerful. Even get an exorcist out there. And so and this is where things got weird on the spiritual side, because he was adamant. No priests, nothing do with religion at all. And I guess he was agnostic. I don't know. But none of that. I'm not having anything to do with that. I said, listen, I'm telling you what my limitations are, and I'm giving you a solution. That's all I can tell you. And he showed me the door real quick.
And he did.
Yeah. And it's like, so get up. But was I going somewhere with that? Or did I just tell my story?
What happened? Like,
Okay, so get this. I get my current partner in the biz, JJ Rose. We all know of her, so to one degree or another. Psychic, exceptionally. Calling her a psychic is
yeah.
not accurate, but she's amazing, and Kat can attest to her. And there's so she's able to do expulsion, spiritual expulsion, and I contacted the guy. I said, listen, I just got someone on my team who can handle your haunting and expel the spirit. Give me a call back. I called him 3 times, ghosted me, no pun intended, and never heard anything else from that house at all.
Ever again?
Ever. No. I hope they're okay. I hope
Oh,
they
I
got
hope
something.
they're all right.
Yeah. Me too.
Wow, but they gave it their own room?
They gave it their granddad's old den. I mean, we don't go in there. Every time we open the door, something bad happens. It's like, wow, something bad happens when the door was closed just before I came over. That was interesting. It's
Wow.
like it didn't want me there at all. And that's probably that buzzing feeling I felt.
I'm
It was ricocheting
assuming,
over
too, that the priest, the initial priest that was there, probably didn't bless that room because they didn't give him permission
I
to
think that's
bless
the
that
case.
room.
I think
And
that's the case.
yeah, see, that's not good, because
No.
also in one of my many jobs that I've had in my life, I used to be a Catholic church secretary.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was interesting when I was hired by the young priest. He said to me, knowing, of course, that I was a paranormal investigator, he said to me, just don't tell everybody what you do. Like, don't tell any of the parishioners what you do at
Yeah.
all. And I
Okay.
vowed not to do that. No problem. It's all
Yeah.
good. But it was very interesting. You learn so much when you're involved in a particular sort of spiritual area.
Yeah.
And I knew a little bit about Catholicism, but not everything. And it was really interesting because you do learn that when they bless a house, they're supposed to bless every part of the house,
Yeah.
every nook, every cranny, kind of like when you're you're clearing it and you're saging or you're doing
Right.
whatever you're doing. You go everywhere. You open up the windows, you sage every
Yes.
corner, every
Sure.
closet. They're supposed to do that. So if he didn't do that,
Or he
then
wasn't allowed to do it.
clearly, exactly, if he wasn't
Yeah.
allowed to, yeah, clearly it's hanging out there.
I couldn't believe it when I heard it. Got his own room in the house. I mean, talk about inviting things in, man. I mean, wow.
No, that's pretty
I
crazy.
mean,
That's pretty
yeah.
crazy. But Tim, one of my most one of my most horrible experiences, scariest of my life, actually happened
Mm.
in the church, in the Catholic Church.
In a church itself, or
In the church.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Tell me about that.
It actually, I think about it a lot, and it actually really affected me because
Mm.
I was always taught to believe, being raised in the Catholic faith myself when I
So
was little,
yeah,
I was told that churches are sanctuaries and that nothing could permeate a church. It was blessed, it was consecrated, it was on consecrated ground,
hmm,
all of that stuff. But one of my tasks working at the church was to type up all the prayers, right? And of course, on a Friday night, I would lock up the church by myself most of the time. I would go up and put all the prayers where they needed to be. And I would go up behind the altar and make sure that the book was placed where it needed to be placed, get everything ready for Mass on the
sure.
weekend. And this one particular time that I did this, and there was a priest in that particular parish at the time that I think something didn't like him, something followed him in. I really believed
Oh,
it. I didn't feel comfortable in my office. I would show up and unlock and unalarm the church, and I was usually by myself. It felt very strange. So this one particular Friday night, there was nobody there. It was dark because it was in the fall time. So you know how it gets dark early.
sure.
I did what I was normally doing. I would make sure that, the hosts were there, the wine was, everything was good. And in this particular church, behind the altar was where the Blessed Sacrament was. So the blessed hosts and the blessed wine, and so very respectful, did everything I needed to do, made sure everything was where it was. I went around the altar to leave, and as I was at the top of the stairs going down the stairs to leave the actual church, behind me I heard a snicker.
Ooh,
And it was not a nice snicker. It was like that kind of thing.
wow.
And there was no one in the church. And I stopped dead in my tracks. And being a paranormal investigator,
You
right?
busted out your black flashlight. I'm sorry.
Right?
Right. I'm just
It was
teasing. Please
weird.
continue.
It's true, though. It was like, wait a second here. And I stopped and I had fear, which normally I don't have. But I
Yeah.
had fear because I knew I was alone and this was a sacred place.
Sure.
And I just said at the top of my lungs, whoever you are, you're not allowed here. This is sanctified ground. This is a holy place. You're not supposed to be here. And I turned around real quick, thinking I was going to see something horrible,
Yeah.
but there was nothing there.
Uh,
So I was
know that
not
feeling.
pleased, but I turned around. My heart was beating out of my chest, and I left. I locked up, and I went back to work the next day. But it didn't feel right, and the
Mm.
church did not feel right. And when I finally left the job and moved on to another job, and went back to that church for a funeral, whatever it was still there.
Oh.
And I live close to this particular church, and I often wonder whether it's still there.
Mm.
That really affected me, and it still affects me because I really believe in energy. I really believe in all of that stuff, and there's an energy in what's supposed to be sanctified space that upset me, and I'm hoping that it's gone, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That really affected me.
That is very unsettling, isn't it? That's
Very, very much.
there's I don't know. You said there was a priest there that kind of wasn't really.
Well, you know what? It was one of those things where when he arrived at the parish, I felt that he may have brought something with him, and I don't
Okay.
know what it
Okay.
was.
Right.
He's no longer there, but who knows?
Who knows? I mean, that's probably what it was. If he did have a hitchhiker.
Well, that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
too, because hitchhikers do exist.
Yeah, for sure.
So you never know.
That's what it sounds like to me. If I'm going to fully engage my investigator brain, yeah, that's what it sounds like. And that's unfortunate. And that does happen sometimes. That's not the only time I've heard of something like that happening to clergy, that they're stepped in something or whatever that they shouldn't have, proverbially speaking, colloquially, whatever.
You never know. You never know.
Or they have, if he ever did any exorcisms, or was an assistant on exorcisms, those guys really have to be careful. And there's a big, stiff, long, that came out so bad, protocol. There's a big protocol they have to follow, but it's hardcore. You really have to hit all the steps. So if
Yeah.
he skipped a step or wasn't as diligent as he should have been, that could easily happen.
Well, that's what
Good
I think.
times.
That's what I think. But I also think that, obviously, whatever it was, wanted me to know that it was there, and probably sensed that I was very sensitive to it, and probably
Yeah.
had dealt with these things before, because I had spoken to some people within that particular parish and within the church that didn't experience anything like that, but did feel a bit unsettled in specific areas of the church.
Yeah.
So other people felt it, but it decided that I was the one that it was going to do
Snicker
something.
Right.
Not pick me.
Well, yeah, it's funny. A lot of paranormal investigators become targets. I mean, we do have targets on our back, and we kind of take that responsibility when we take up the calling, as you put it, which I agree with. So it's kind of the playground we live in, so to speak. That's our sound box, and we are going to be eye candy, or candy of some sort, to whatever's out there, good or bad. They're going to seek us out because we believe. Not only do we believe, we know.
We know.
Because
we know.
Yeah.
But I think that there are places on this earth that, like a home even, that when you clear it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's clear for good. Just like there are churches that are supposed to be on sanctified ground, I think every once in a while you should revisit that location and do whatever you need to do to make sure that it's protected, and make sure that, everything is kind of, copacetic.
Copacetic. Excellent way to put it. Mario makes an interesting point, and I tend to agree with it, that you were a threat to this entity. And
I think you're right.
I think that's very true. So, good point, Mario. Thanks for bringing that toward forward.
Mario's a smart guy, let me tell you.
Mario's got his stuff together, that's for sure. Sweeping your floors, Kat says, doesn't mean you don't ever have to sweep again.
Exactly.
Very true. Very true. Spiritual maintenance, yes. Absolutely. And I think the priests do that anyway. At least my understanding is they do that at least once a year.
Yeah.
Maybe step it up a little.
Step it up a bit. Yeah. You're hearing from that parish.
Really. And I would go so far as, if you're from the Catholic tradition, that aspect, if you're going to bless a place, do the full liturgical blessing. I mean, get with the incense and all that stuff. Get in, do it, all of it. Don't just sprinkle the holy water around and say, yeah, good enough.
Don't say half of the Lord's Prayer.
Exactly. Our Father, you know the rest of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't do it all, man.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be blasphemous at all. I promise.
It is true. I mean, it really is true. But I think a lot of people, whether, they're from that tradition or whatever religious tradition, and as a paranormal investigator, we always make sure that we know if a person or persons in a particular location ascribe to some sort of, religious background, whatever it happens to be,
Right.
I mean, you have to be really respectful. So I would think too, if you're going in and you're blessing a location, and they say, no, you don't go into that room.
Right.
You try and insist, I would guess, and be respectful of the people who live there.
Sure.
But when they're saying, no, you don't do that, you do the best that you can to make sure that
Yeah.
the blessed. But if they're saying, no, you don't go into grandpa's room,
Right.
you don't go into grandpa's room.
That's very true. And you kind of have to respect those boundaries, whether they're in the client's best interests or not. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't kick a door in. I mean, what's his name? God, I can't stand this guy. He's got that show. I think it's still on. He has a Hobbit name.
Oh, Zach
The Ghost
Bagans.
Adventures guy.
Zach Bagans.
Zach Bagans, yeah. That guy, all he does is kick doors in. And it's like, well, apologize later. And he always gets in the worst trouble, like spiritually speaking. It's like bad example of a paranormal investigator, because you're not there to kick doors in. You're there to help people.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I always tell people, read the good, read the bad, read the ugly, watch the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that you know what's out there and you know what to do and what not to do.
Yes.
I think it's
lessons everywhere can be learned. Yeah.
It's true.
It is a teaching tool in its own right, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Thank you, Kiara. I appreciate that. He thinks he's SWAT. Cat's a hoot. I'm going to put this up here. She says maybe he thinks he's paranormal SWAT.
I like it.
Like he's even care. Oh, did you ever see that one team where, speaking of TV, it was at that point where there was oversaturation of all these different paranormal shows, and it was a bunch of Chicago cops. Now, Chicago police, even when they're off duty, have to carry their pieces with them, right? So you have these ghost hunters, hand on the gun, just cause they're used to it. It's like, you're gonna kill it again? What's going on? I mean, never mind. There could be some transients in there. They didn't really scout the place that well.
Oh no,
they're having trouble over here, and so they go in. It's like, yeah, guys with guns hunting ghosts. I mean, it worked for the Ghostbusters, but they had the right equipment, so to speak.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't get. I mean, I get it. That's their and not their prerogative, but they're under orders to carry off duty. But still, I mean,
It's terrifying.
it seems like a recipe for disaster. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Fortunately, none of that happened on the show they had. So that's good.
Thank God.
That's awesome. Lynda, anything else we need to ask you or you want to add before we get out of here? Where to find you, where to listen to you?
Well, first of all, best advice is never go alone. And also just, again, read the good, the bad, and the ugly and watch it all. And you can always find me on Facebook. My team is the Georgina Paranormal Society. You can also email us, georginaparanormal@gmail.com. And you know what? Just Google. Google's the best thing. Look us up, follow us, and we love hearing from everyone, and nothing is off limits.
Well, be careful what you say.
Right?
Lynda, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Hang out for a few seconds after we go off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and listening and chatting. You guys have been going nuts in the chat. It's fantastic. Until next time, my name's Tim Sedano. This is Paranormal Insight, and we'll see you next week. If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please email us at paranormal.insight.podcast paranormal.insight@gmail.com. That's paranormal.insight.podcast@gmail.com.